how some of these people are dealing in these institutions. Sometimes you say they do not know, but sometimes they actually know what they are doing. So, Mr. Speaker, if whatever way you rule today, it is important that the House interacts with that special audit report that the Auditor General, provided damning issues. The only reason these companies had not been debarred, when we invited the Public Procurement Oversight Authority, they told us the only reason they have not debarred them is for lack of regulations. And therefore, when we said, when the regulations come in place, then they should be debarred. Mr. Speaker, we should not let them off the hook just because when this was happening, the regulations were not in place. It was not that there was no provision for debarment. It is only that the how of debarment had not been defined in regulations. So, Mr. Speaker, we want to protect this country. And when we are given a job to oversight, we want to do a thorough job so that this country does not lose money. And we want to plead with this House. Please read the report and please see where we are coming from as a committee, so that we do not just say, remove this or remove that, or just drop it on the basis of technicality. On technicality, I'm glad that Honorable TJ is now on the committee and able to advise on some of these legal issues. But on the others, Mr. Speaker, the committee has a big point. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Now, don't stop raising your hand up. You're not in a high school. Now, we need to. You see, I needed to get the indication from the Honorable Peter Kaluma. Honorable Peter Kaluma, quite apart from suggesting that the committee goes to clean up.
Yes.
Is it the case that your proposed amendment to 2, 3, and 4, you are dropping them?
Mr. Speaker,
because largely they are in tandem with what the committee has suggested.
No, Mr. Speaker, the position I'd given to the House when I committed to engage the committee was that if we can come to agreement with the committee on the substance of amendments, then there would be no reason for me on my part to continue with my amendments. In which case, Mr. Speaker, I did not just only communicate that fact on the floor, but I also wrote, I remember, to your office, saying if the committee can carry my thinking forward, then I have no reason to stand on their way. Mr. Speaker, we are in a situation where there are a few challenges. What I would be requesting is that if we are to stand down, Mr. Speaker, let us have the committee do their work. If I'm accommodated, well and good. If not, I would myself be making further amendments to my report. I'm still concerned, Mr. Speaker, on the drafting of some drawings. And this is something I spoke to the chair, just to make it more pointed. So I would request, if you are standing it down, you stand it down so that everybody who was concerned about the recommendations can harmonize them with the committee. If not, a person like me who was proceeding on principle can further amend or withdraw my existing amendment and substitute with a proper amendment which can speak to the matters Mr. Speaker is guiding us on. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
But you see, Honorable Kaluma, there is your proposal is that subject to deletion of recommendation Roman 2, 3, and Roman 4, appearing under the committee recommendations under chapter 5 on page 61 of the report. That was one, and you don't have any issues with that. Then you also have B, deletion of recommendation 5, appearing under the committee recommendations chapter 5, page 63. Here, your only difference with the committee is you are not giving the 60 days. Them, they are giving EACC 60 days. You're still saying you actually have the Directorate of Criminal Investigations and the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission should expeditiously investigate the circumstances under which the CAPS entered into contract with MSS EAA Company Limited, Terminal Japan, and report their National Assembly. You know, when obviously, as you know, as I've said before, when you said this to two bodies, then you can bet that you can wait until maybe 2027, because who is going to act? Because you will be calling this body, they tell you, oh, no, we were so busy ourselves with coffee in the investigations, we left it, we thought DCI should take. DCI, on the other hand, will come and say the same. So in the process, you end up, you end with none of those bodies investigating the matter. And also, actually, honourable members, when you suggest that an investigating body, like either the DCI or the EACC, undertake investigations and report back to you, let me also say that the impression created is that you don't want to let off. You don't want to let off this matter. It's like it's, there's something also you are enjoying in there. So you want them to investigate and bring to you. I don't know, when they bring it back to you, what do you do with it? And then you may, they might bring it to you, and then you begin another investigation also. So then you come with another report, and then, so I don't know. So Honorable Kaluma, I agree with you that there may be need to tidy up this. So that give to one of those bodies, in fact, a recommendation to investigate, and if you find anybody culpable, take the necessary action as appropriate. Why are we not finding it easy to do that, something like that? So that we as National Assembly, through our Committee on Implementation, then can now call those people, EACC, they can appear before the Committee on Implementation. There was this report which was adopted by the House. You are meant to carry out investigations. What did you do? They will tell you, we investigated and found it was all hogwash, or after investigations, those people, we forwarded the file to the Director of Public Prosecutions, and people have been taken before court. And that will be a satisfactory answer. Either way, either they can tell, because they can tell you, we investigated and found it was nothing. Mulikuwa mnapiga siasa tu ile yenu ya kawaida. And that is, of course, remember, these bodies can always tell you that kind of, it is also an answer. Don't take it in bad faith. If they tell you, we found, you misunderstood, you misapprehended this, these were all stories. They are the ones with the technical competencies to do those thorough investigations. But also they could give you a report that, yes, we investigated, we were very happy, and we found certain people culpable, and we recommended them for prosecution and funded their files to the Director of Public Prosecutions. And maybe people have been taken before courts. That is an answer. That's a fact. For us as Parliament, we will have done our bit. We leave the rest to the DPP, to the courts. It's up to them, really. If people are convicted, not convicted, that's really not a part of our worry. But I think we should be a bit more clear so that we don't, if we send to DCI and to the EACC, we will find our reports, so many of our reports lying out there, and nobody will be acting on them. So US, Honorable Kaluma, US is recommending these two. So I thought, so that if my proposal, thinking around Honorable Kaluma, with respect, would be perhaps you would drop this your particular proposed amendment, and possibly, if I heard you correctly, propose a further amendment to the committee's amendment about the 60 days. I mean, that of course, that accommodates what your intention is here, and then sends the matter to whoever is supposed to do the investigation, because the committee proposes that it goes to the EACC, but report back to Parliament, National Assembly within 60 days. I don't know to do what. So they can do that. Even those who are going to do debarment, our Committee on Implementation will follow up to see whether the debarment was ever done. So you PIC, once the report is adopted, you become spent. So that you can do other, you can't deal with only one organization. Honorable Kaluma, maybe I could hear you.
Yeah, Mr. Speaker, that is why I explained that if you look at my proposal on how to amend recommendation number 5, I said that my version is even worse than the committee because I was still mentioning DCI. So that needs to go out so that this can be investigated by a single body that Parliament can properly oversight in doing it. And Mr. Speaker, I was just speaking with Abdul Samad, and I was agreeing that if there is any place where the report of the investigations ought to go, then it should be the DPP for appropriate action. Now, the thinking is whether you need it or you just remove the report being taken anywhere. ESCC to investigate and it ends at that. Now, Mr. Speaker, there is a question that we need to deal with. If ESCC is investigating, and I've seen it in this House, Mr. Speaker, I sat in the Justice and Legal Affairs Committee with the Deputy Speaker, sometimes in the 11th Parliament, and I remember falling short of requiring the investigating body to report back. Nothing was happening on some very sensitive corruption cases which ended up in court. So I was thinking that there is a way we can balance a reporting, if not to this National Assembly, then to a body which can, undertake appropriate action, subject to the consideration that the report be only taken to the DPP if ESCC finds there is some wrongdoing. That can be redrafted. But Mr. Speaker, there is a bigger problem. The reason as to why I was saying just amending this thing on the floor may not help. There is a ramification of recommendation number 5 in its amended form to recommendation number 4 and 3. And Mr. Speaker gets what I'm talking about. There is an obvious ramification. And that is why we need to look at them, because somebody may also question or ask you, Mr. Speaker, you are recommending investigations. Are these actions being prematurely recommended or not? So we need to look at the Act. And I'm saying these regulations are new. Give the committee time to look at Regulation 21 and 22, so that in the text, if we are either deleting Recommendation 3 and 4 as I proposed, I met Honorable Abdul Samad. And my problem, Mr. Speaker and Honorable Members, look at Recommendation 4 as drafted. And I was asking, is it even a recommendation? That was my first annoyance with it. Because, Mr. Speaker, you have the first part of the recommendation, then it goes to say potential areas of litigation maybe. And I remember I was telling the chair of the committee that why don't we take this to the findings so that we have an incisive amendment or recommendation at 4 which is actionable. He reported to me that there wasn't enough time to consider those. But I'm saying, Mr. Speaker, if we are to do a good job, my cry is that we should not ashame by not supporting a report of particularly oversight committees. Let us give the committee a chance to go and sit, look at this thing. Mr. Speaker, I had committed in my letter to you, which I copied to the chair of the committee, that if those issues of principle and concerns of law are properly addressed, I would be the last to be standing against a committee I've engaged on a matter to be pursuing still. I would be withdrawing if it is accommodated. I did say that on without prejudice, that if something remains in principle, then Mr. Speaker, I would still be entitled to help the House rectify it. So I'm requesting we allow the committee to do their work. If there is any need, Mr. Speaker, for me to bring my own amendments, I will. But the principled position, and Mr. Speaker, so that when committees agree to negotiate with members on particular things, particularly said before the House as we did, they can do so in good faith and seriously. Let me confirm, Mr. Speaker, that I want to withdraw my amendments following our discussions. Kindly allow the committee to relook at this. If the committee does not accommodate fully, my liberty to bring amendments subject to your approval, Mr. Speaker, is not taken away under the standing orders. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
I see the Honorable Samad, you are not raising the intervention button, you are raising your hand up.
No, Mr. Speaker, I'm trying to press it, but it seems like, Mr. Speaker, I want to categorically state, Mr. Speaker, that first and foremost, there's been a lot of issues that have been talked, and I'm not saying that they're misleading, but I want to actually state that they're on a misinformed position. Mr. Speaker, one of the issues that had been raised was these are regulations that were done.
No, let's not go to that one, because that's substance. Let's not go there. The proposal by the Honorable Kaluma, so that the issue of regulations will be a matter of substance, and the House can vote on that.
To go to the recommendation of Honorable Kaluma, it is a simple issue. We feel there is nothing wrong in identifying the areas of possible litigation. However, what he is talking about, and this is something that you have given guidance, to delete the word EACC to report back, that is something acceptable to all the members who are currently here, and I believe there's nothing wrong in that. Mr. Speaker, all we are asking for is we as well as a committee want to deliberate on this matter, want to finalize on this matter, because we cannot have too many reports. As active as we are, we have more reports. And by the way, Mr. Speaker, if this is deemed to be something hot, wait and see the KEMSA report that is going to be tabled here. Mr. Speaker,
just take your seat. Now, if you start telling me about hot things, they will become hot than what? Now, I've heard what Honorable Kaluma said, and I've heard you. So there's no need for us to adjourn. From your point, you want us to. Nobody is saying this is hot. I mean, it looks it's very cool. It's very cool, really. Now, can I get an indication from the Honorable Manzo? Because Honorable Manzo's proposed amendments are to delete just a minute. He proposes to withdraw, to delete Roman 2, 3, 4, and 5. And the committee on its own motion deleted recommendation 1. So Honorable Manzo is helping them to delete everything. I think he took a cue from the committee. The committee deleted recommendation 1. And so let's give the Honorable Manzo so that we know where we are.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, following my clear that if what they have come up then, Mr. Speaker, my amendments will automatically fall. And for that reason, Mr. Speaker, I want to agree with you about the new amendment about the 60 days. Mr. Speaker, we still have an issue on that. And I want to propose, Mr. Speaker, that if we could clean up and then proceed. Others, on my part, Mr. Speaker, following the amendments they made, my amendments drop.
Say, Honorable Manzo, for the purpose of the record, you are formally withdrawing your proposed amendment.
Yes, Mr. Speaker, I do withdraw my proposed amendment as it is for now.
Very well.
Thank you.
Now, the Honorable Kaluma is not. Let's see. The committee deletes Roman 1, which Honorable Kaluma has no issues with. The committee deletes Roman 2, but substitutes it with in the new format. So Honorable Kaluma, Roman 2 of the recommendation has been deleted and substituted with the new one. Honorable Kaluma, you are proposing to delete also Roman 3 and 4. So and then maybe so Honorable Kaluma, you are have you read the new regulation, I mean recommendation Roman 2 by the committee?
Yeah, Mr. Speaker, I've read the proposed recommendation number 2.
Yeah.
I would not have a problem with it to the extent that I confirmed that if we are proceeding under Regulation 22 as specified, then the entities being debarred will have a right to hearing before whatever body it is going to deal with the matter of debarment. So I would not have a problem with it. Of course, it is not the text in which I would have preferred, but I would not have a problem with it substantively.
So then you are left with the Roman 3 and 4.
Yes.
And maybe 5 to the extent of you would be willing to go with the committees except for the 60 days and reporting back to the House.
Yes, Mr. Speaker, on 3 and 4, particularly on 4, there would have been need for an amendment. An amendment on my part, putting the full stop after the first sentence of the recommendation number 4, so that all those matters of potential areas of litigation goes to the finding. And Mr. Speaker, so that we do not cherry pick so that we proceed to support or oppose this report in entirety, which is what I feared. If that is easy for the members, my only fear is that if I drop my amendments, I'm not prejudicing my right to take my positions. And the misfortune, Mr. Speaker, is that those positions may be either total rejection or total support, which is what I was avoiding.
No?
Yes. And then number 5, on recommendation number 5, I'm fine with the version of the committee, subject to removal of the portion Mr. Speaker raised a concern on. Yes.
So